What's up, everybody? So as you know, the draft is in just under a week now. It's really creeping up on everybody, so we're going to be doing some more mock drafts. I think I'll probably do this one and another one after this to really just survey a bunch of options and you know, a bunch of ways that this draft could go for the New Orleans Saints because of course, we are not going to know until it happens, but it's still extremely fun to talk about. So, for these mock draft videos, I will not be doing face cam simply because I'm going to have to read a lot of information from a script, and it's not really a fun video to watch if you're just watching me read a script for the entire time. So, I thought I'd switch to a more Alvin Kamara. You guys remember that Alvin Kamara video I did about a year and a half ago where it was pictures and highlights? Well, we're switching back to that for these mock draft videos, so bear with me. I'm sorry if you enjoy the face cam videos and stuff like that, but for the mock drafts, this is just how it's going to be, because of the fact that I do have to read from a script because there is an absolute ton of information. So, like I said, the draft is really creeping up on us, so it's definitely going to be fun to talk about the draft in the coming days and really hone in on it when it happens. So, I'm very excited for that, and I cannot wait for it to happen. So, like I said, today we're doing Mock Draft 2.0. Before we get into the video, I'd like to mention that I do have a join button now, so if you want to support the channel a little bit extra more than your fantastic view already supports it, please go ahead and join the membership. You get custom emotes, a Saints fleur-de-lis next to your name, so I think you guys would enjoy that. But until then, let's go ahead and get into the video. So the round one pick number 24, I had the New Orleans Saints selecting Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. In my honest opinion, I think Kenneth Murray is a better all-around linebacker than Patrick Queen, but is worse when it comes to coverage. I think the Saints need a definitive linebacker that excels in coverage, so that's why Pat Queen was in my first mock. But the 6'2", 241-pound Kenneth Murray is 2 inches taller and 12 pounds heavier than Queen, and they're still peers athletically. He's ranked among the Combine's top 8 linebacker prospects in the 40-yard dash, running a 4.52, which is insane at that size. In 2019, Murray's tackling ability dropped slightly. In 2018, he nabbed 155 tackles, rivaled with 102 in 2019. But that doesn't mean he didn't improve in some facets of his tackling game in 2019, because he had a career-high 17 tackles for loss, which is absolutely insane. Along with those 102 tackles, he had 4 sacks and 4 passes defended. Murray has something that a dog linebacker needs, and that's character. As a true sophomore at Oklahoma, Kenneth Murray was named a team captain, which speaks levels and shows how good of a leader he actually is. He has potential to be a quarterback of the Saints defense a few years down the road, something like Cameron Jordan is right now. Murray has one knock of his game, though, and it has to be pass coverage. In this day and age where there are tight ends like George Kittle out there and Travis Kelce, you need a linebacker that can cover them. Murray has only 6 career passes defended and on occasion just looks confused in coverage like a fish out of water. Murray is a fast player that can fly around the defense and make splash plays. I think it would be an awesome addition to our struggling linebacking core and would complement Demario Davis very well. His tackling ability and all-around extremely great fundamentals make him a extremely good pick for the New Orleans Saints in round 1 with that 24th overall pick. Let's move on to the next one. In round 3, pick number 88, I have the New Orleans Saints selecting QB Jacob Eason out of Washington. While Jacob isn't the fastest quarterback running a 4.90, he still shows promise to be an extremely efficient pocket passer who has limited ability to get out and pick up some yards with his legs if need be. The 6'6", 227-pound quarterback completed 64% of his passes in 2019 for 3,132 yards with 23 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Eason is fun to watch when he's ripping throws around the field and taking deep play-action shots, but a lack of mobility inside and outside the pocket is troubling, considering his ineffectiveness when pressured. He's relatively inexperienced and should continue to develop from the pocket, but poise is hard to fix, and handling exotic blitz packages is not a given talent. But let's take a look at his situation if he's drafted by the New Orleans Saints this year. His issue is being poised. Who is our starting quarterback? Probably the most poised QB in NFL history. If there's any system, team, or quarterback that can help Jacob Eason develop into his full potential, it's down here in New Orleans without a doubt. The pocket passer era isn't dead. It's just a little harder to perfect. If you have at least some mobility, you can make it and be a great quarterback. I will always pick an accurate passer over an exotic runner because when it comes down to big moments, Lamar Jackson, an accurate passer with poise is what you need. Jacob could be an amazing QB that Breeze can help groom into a full-time starter if need be. Sean Payton already stated that a QB will be selected this draft. We just don't know when. So yeah, round 3, pick number 88, I got QB Jacob Eason out of Washington. Let's move on to round 4, which I have pick number 130, Lynn Bowden, wide receiver / QB / specialist / running back out of Kentucky. Okay, so I know some of you are probably going to shell me some questionable concerns and hate for this pick, but let's be real, this is such a valuable and interesting selection, and let me tell you why. Following the example of Randall Cobb, Bowden was a great athlete at wide receiver who was pressed into playing quarterback for the Kentucky Wildcats. As a receiver in 2019, Bowden had 30 catches for 348 yards and a touchdown, but as a running quarterback, Bowden averaged 7.9 yards per carry for 1,468 yards with 13 touchdowns on the ground. That was all in 2019, by the way. Bowden is a dynamic athlete with speed, athleticism, and size. He could be a mid-round pick in the 2020 NFL Draft who ends up being an excellent value selection. He had 4 200-yard rushing games, 200-plus yard rushing games, in 2019. He threw for 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in 2019 as well, while only passing the ball 70 times. So he had 30 catches for 348 yards and a touchdown, 1,468 rushing yards with 13 rushing touchdowns, and 403 passing yards with 3 passing touchdowns. He is insane. Before switching to QB, Lynn Bowden had his best receiving season in 2018, racking up 745 yards and 5 touchdowns on 67 receptions. He also had 2 return touchdowns as well. The Saints have endorsed a new era of players starting with Taysom Hill, the unicorn player. I have zero doubt that if Sean sees his film, he'd absolutely melt. Lynn Bowden is probably the one name that you might not know that you really need to know. He is definitely the most versatile player in the SEC, maybe even in the draft as a whole, playing so many positions: wide receiver, QB, specialist, running back, quarterback, running quarterback, everything. Lynn Bowden would definitely be a solid pick, and I think that if the Saints went with him, he'd have a tremendous upside and could contribute in levels that we've never seen before. Like, I'm talking above Taysom Hill level, because he can play wide receiver, QB, specialist, running back. I'm sorry, I'm high on this dude. I think the Saints can make it happen. Let's move on to the next pick, which is round 5, pick number 169. I had the New Orleans Saints selecting Lamar Jackson, a cornerback out of Nebraska. One thing I've learned over the past few years is that you need and want to draft players named Lamar Jackson. Okay, all jokes aside, I really like Lamar as a prospect. He's a big 6'2", 206-pound corner who has a ton of strength on him. Jackson totaled 40 tackles with 3 interceptions, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles, and 12 passes defended as a senior. That's all in 1 year. In 2018, he had 28 stops with 2 picks and 7 breakups. So 5 interceptions over the past 2 years. I'll definitely take it. Jackson is a big cornerback and a decent athlete, but he is soft versus the run and not really the biggest playmaker in coverage. He can really make plays, but he's not like a known 100% playmaker. Given that he's a soft run defender, he isn't a candidate to move to safety, unfortunately, which would be nice given his ball-hawking nature. His only fit might come as a press man corner, which wouldn't be a bad fit here in New Orleans. While he would be fantastic depth who could serve as a starter someday. Janoris Jenkins, being 31, turning 32 this year, stocking up on some quality corners late would not be a bad idea at all. I think Lamar Jackson is really an underrated candidate as far as the cornerback position goes. Really, in my opinion, because of that size. Let's move on to our final pick of the draft. Round 6, pick number 203, I have us selecting Kelton Moore, a fullback/running back out of Nevada. Moore averaged 3.7 yards per carry in 2019 for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 6 receptions for 17 yards. Moore is a big back who has done enough to make it on NFL teams' preseason watch list as a potential third-day prospect for the 2020 NFL Draft. In 2018, he averaged 4.8 yards per carry for 433 yards with 4 touchdowns, which is nice for a fullback. But get this. In 2017, he averaged 5.2 yards per carry for 855 yards with 4 touchdowns, which is amazing for a fullback. Over those 2 seasons, he totaled 39 receptions with a touchdown. He has shown potential to play both running back and fullback, and at 5'11", 240 pounds, serves as basically a baby offensive lineman. With Zach Line, who was great, retiring, and Michael Burton being on a 1-year deal, drafting a fullback late could be a really good future investment because, in my opinion, fullback lives matter and are extremely underrated positions in the modern NFL. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate the support. Thank you for stopping by. Let me know if you agree or disagree with anything down in the comment section below. Mock Draft 3 is probably the mock draft that I go hard, show trades and potential things that could really happen to shake up not only our draft stock, but our draft picks in general. So, thank you guys so much for watching yet again. I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios. Drop your mock draft down in the comment section below. Let me know who you think we're going to pick.